Good evening. My name is Patrick Green. I'm presenting on metabolic conditioning and metabolic training for PE 580 Wellness and Fitness for Life, and my professor is Jana Sanchez. I want to first start off by introducing what metabolic conditioning is, and those are exercise programs utilizing the immediate and intermediate energy pathways. So when one is exercising, they're trying to break down the energy that one intake through nutrition. They're trying to break down the macronutrients of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins to use that as energy. Now, the three energy pathway systems the bodies can break down that energy is the phosphagen system, the glycolytic system, and oxidative system. The phosphagen system is an immediate system, doesn't last more than 15 seconds. The glycolytic system is an intermediate phase that lasts about 1 to 4 minutes, and the oxidative system is a longer duration system that can last for almost hours upon end at lower intensities. I want to introduce the topic of EPOC today, which is excess post-oxygen consumption, as well as different kinds of metabolic conditioning intervals. The purpose of metabolic conditioning is to perform better athletically as well as develop a desired physique. How one would use metabolic conditioning would focus on selecting appropriate work and rest ratios for the desired outcome and desired goal, whether that's athletically or aesthetically. One would use metabolic conditioning in a variety of ways. It focus on using strength training exercises that are compound, multi-joint movements, such as squats, hinges, pushes, pulls, carries, using plyometrics, using power exercises, and also trying to put the greatest amount of work in the least amount of time. And heavy loads are going to be more superior and produce the greater results, as well as using the least amount of rest possible. Sprints and interval training can also be used for metabolic conditioning. The desired outcome one is looking to achieve through metabolic conditioning is excess post-oxygen consumption. Now, this is the body trying to restore itself to its pre-exercise state, and it is consuming oxygen at an elevated rate. So oxygen is used to produce ATP, which is energy that one intook through nutrition, and to replace the energy that it used, it burned off the energy throughout the workout. It's also trying to restore oxygen levels in the blood, as well as repair muscle tissue damage during the workout. So EPOC is the desired outcome at the end of the workout. It increases the metabolism, allows one to burn calories at a higher rate for longer periods of time than when one stops working out, they're done burning calories. No, we want to continue to burn calories after the workout at a higher rate. Now, the benefits of high intensity training is going to produce the greatest EPOC effect. We see that through research that resistance training will produce greater EPOC than steady state cardio. So lifting weights, if one is going to select an exercise program, they're going to select lifting weights than steady state cardio because it's going to burn calories, it's going to create lean muscle mass and increase metabolism and metabolic rate. Interval training is that, again, training at higher intensities followed by lower intensities is going to create a greater metabolic disturbance than aerobic exercise and steady state exercise at lower intensities. And lastly, found through research that high intensity weight training is going to create a greater EPOC effect than low resistance weight training. The high intensity training we see increases insulin sensitivity, glycemic control, and also create more cardiovascular health than just the steady state cardio in a quicker amount of time. We also see through research that metabolic training and high intensity training is going to create superior fat loss than moderate intensity for higher volume. To conclude everything that I found through research is that metabolic conditioning needs to focus on the intensity. The one who's designing the program and creating the program needs to select the appropriate intensity. Now, that all depends on what the goal is, but load is important. Less rest is important. If they're trying to become a certain kind of athlete, and that depends on what sport they play and what kind of physique they're looking forward. EPOC will, again, like I've mentioned before, creates the greatest benefit to exercise. It allows us to work when we're at rest. And the intensity one chooses will dictate which energy pathway system the body is using. Is it using glycolytic? Is it using phosphagen or oxidative? And this kind of training, high intensity training, is not for all people though. It needs to be slowly implemented into um, one's program. And if one has a heart condition or has diabetes or other serious health conditions, it is advised to slowly implement this kind of training in there and eventually get to a higher training ability, no matter where one's health is at. I see the future research in metabolic training would be the difference between how it plays an effect on males and females. Does age play a factor in metabolic results? And how much is too much metabolic training? Is there it's important to know what the limit is, and could you increase that limit? And which exercises produces the greatest EPOC? We see a lot of new training programs out there today. We see CrossFit, we see P90X, we see a lot of different interval kinds of training programs, Olympic lifting, plyometrics, a lot of different kind of sprints. So we want to know which exercises, which training interval times, Tabatas, AMRAPs, as many rounds as possible, every minute on the minute, death buys, which is adding 1 rep per each minute, and then going to failure. So it's important to know which exercise and which training interval times work the best for you, depending on which goal one is choosing. My conclusion is that metabolic training must be included into weight loss and fat loss and athletic programs to see that desired result become quicker than one is already using. It's all about results, and it's about getting there as quick as possible and as well as safe as possible. So the the one who's designing the program needs to select the right periodization, needs to select appropriate modalities, sets, reps, correct load percentages, and rest ratio to get the desired result that the client or athlete needs. Coaches, trainers, and physical educators believe needs to apply their latest research into their team or onto their classroom or into their clients' programs instead of sticking with outdated research when implementing training programs. So it's important to add metabolic conditioning to get that EPOC, to get that um, long burning effect instead of going higher volumes at lower intensity. It's also important to create movement-based um, programs instead of isolated-based programs and incorporating in those multi-joint and constantly varied exercises. So the key is move, move, move. So I hope that all of you who are watching this video can go and research what metabolic training is and implement it into your players, your athletes, your students, exercise programs, and as well as your own personal exercise and fitness programs. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation. Have a great night.